say aye. Aye, opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Can I get a motion to waive the reading of the non-public minutes from the Board of Assessors meeting held on Thursday, December 5th, 2024, accept them and place them on file?
So moved.
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Communications. Jessica, do we have a department update?
I don't have anything.
No.
We've hired Grace full-time. So we had a temp working for us through an agency, and we've hired her as a full-time customer service representative for the admin side of the assessing department.
Okay. That's it?
Yep.
Okay. Old business, none. New business. 2024 administrative abatements. Jessica, do you want to go through those?
Yes, I'll go through. The first one is L. Lynn Street. This is one the tax collector is asking us for, to abate some uncollectible taxes. This parcel is actually owned in common by the owners of the surrounding homes in a particular development. And, I don't know, 2019-ish, someone picked up a shed or something, some sort of structure, put it on that property card, and that's what was generating the tax bill. So it's not a tax bill for the land, it's for this shed structure. It was incorrectly put on that property. So in order to, it's just minimal amounts each year, just based on the value of that shed from 2019 to 2024, that the tax collector is asking that we abate the taxes for those years. We've since removed that shed from that property, so it's not going to generate any future tax bills with this error. The breakdown is on the sheet, about $100 a year, except for this year much less, the total being $630.25 over the 6 years. So we recommend that we approve the administrative abatement for that, for the outstanding uncollectible taxes for L. Lynn Street for 2019 through 2024.
Is that land taxable?
No.
It's common land to the, I believe it's 18 lots that surround it.
So
it's-
their value, just like a townhouse, is kind of whatever amenities are at your townhouse. We don't tax the land that it's on as a separate bill. It's just all the owners, the value of their property is
Is brought into that
built
value?
into whatever
Oh, you do-
amenities.
Really, you do bring in the value of that land into their value, into their assessed value?
Well, it impacts the value of those properties based on what they sell for. So as long as you're assessing them based on what the transactions are, then it's counting that land. And I would point out that we didn't make a mistake in picking the shed up on the parcel. It was on that parcel. It was a neighbor encroaching on that parcel. There's a copy of the map in there that shows you that.
Yeah.
But since, I mean, there's nobody to collect this from, right? It's whether you tax deed it, lien it, whatever, you know, the bills just got mailed to the location, and it's a vacant parcel, so.
Have they booted them off that land?
Well, we've kind of notified the building department that was, of course, that was put there without permits, because they would never have gotten a permit to put a shed on that vacant parcel of land that they don't own.
Yeah, I see, okay.
So that's the most we can do as far as policing it.
But we've since gone out and inspected the property and put whatever we've seen onto the property card of the home.
Oh, they did?
No,
We've done that.
we did that recently.
But can he say, well, I don't own that land?
Well,
But-
it's pretty clear that the improvements that.
Yeah, we're
owner
not
is
tasking him
putting
on the land. It turned out not to even be a shed. It's
Some kind of
it's like a roof, you know, a temporary.
gazebo type of thing.
So when you look at it on the aerials, it looks like,
What do you call it?
Oh, it's like a
Gazebo.
like an
carport?
open
Oh,
porch.
gazebo.
Yeah, something that you can move.
If you look
Just
at that
poles
photo,
with a roof, yeah.
it looks like there may have been an above-ground pool there at one time.
Right.
Because there's a deck.
Oh, yeah.
There is a
that's got
pool
a roof
deck.
to it. But
that
that was
we-
already gone by the time we went out there this year to check it.
Can you imagine the guy put an in-ground pool or
Up above ground.
above ground? On someone else's land, yeah.
What about
Yep.
adverse possession? How long was it there for?
Yeah,
Well,
Not-
anyway.
Not our issue.
yeah.
And it's association land, so he's one of the owners that owns a 1/18th interest, so. And I guess if the neighbors didn't raise it as an issue.
Isn't that, so
Our-
he's.
Our concern was, you know, this was gonna be up for tax deeding this go-round. I believe they're doing that this January, this month.
Yeah.
So when we brought it to our attention and we investigated, you know, the tax bills have been going out there and nobody's been receiving them. That's why they haven't been paid.
Yeah,
It's not like there's an owners association where there's a president and a whatever that we could send this to clear up. Like a condo association, those common amenities, if there were something taxable, you know, you'd have a contact to make sure that got.
but you were just sending the mail to L. Lynn Street. The tax bill to L. Lynn Street.
Yeah.
How big a lot is that? It looks pretty big, right?
That lot, yeah, it's, I don't know if we have a copy
We
of
have
that
the
card.
card.
It's probably a couple of acres.
It's not 1.85.
Wonder why it wasn't included as, built on.
Yeah, it's not clear to me whether it was a condition of subdivision approval that they leave that as dedicated land,
Certain
or
amount
if
of
it's
open
just something
space.
that the developer chose to do. I don't, it's not listed on the plan. I did investigate, take a look at the recorded plan. And it doesn't say that the city or planning required it. It's,
Who owns it? I mean, that they do, that was part of it?
Association.
Yeah, so that whole group, is it a legitimate entity association?
not that we could tell. I mean, there's nothing to manage, it's just a vacant parcel.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they probably should have insurance on it, but again, not a question for us, that's,
Yeah. Okay.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the abatement for the property at L. Lynn Street
Approved.
for the years
Moved, so moved.
2019 to 24? I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next one, Jessica?
I'm going to let Michelle take the next one.
So the next one is administrative abatement. A veteran's credit was removed in error for 2024 by the prior administrative staff. So he had he had an elderly exemption, which he no longer qualified for, and they removed both in error. So basically, what we're looking to do is to abate the $750 for the entire year.
I'll give the credit back.
Correct, yep,
Is it just for 2024?
yes.
Any questions?
Nope.
Can I get a motion to approve the administrative abatement for the property at 39 Astor Court, Unit 175?
So moved?
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next one?
All
Michelle?
right, so now we have, I think, 5 abatements. These are abatements to the 2024 assessments, and they're all for the same reason. I'll still go through them one by one for the voting, but the first one is 70 Tampa Street. These were, all 5 of these had a data error, and staff has gone out and done an inspection and made the data corrections in the software, and it came out with a lower value for their, which would have been, had we been able to do the inspection timely, we would have corrected it before the bills went out, but they were all brought up as part of the revaluation and the hearing process, but some of the appointments were later in the year, and we had to cut off and stop entering data into our database. So the first one is 70 Tampa Street. I went out, inspected it, made several changes to the property card, which reduced the value, and I'm recommending an abatement for the property as it's warranted based on the data corrections.
Did the homeowner file for an abatement, or did you just pick up on it?
Nope, all of these, they filed an official, we asked them to file an official
Okay,
abatement for all 5 of these.
gotcha.
And just to clarify on that, if they don't file an abatement, we correct it going forward, but we can't refund money.
If they don't
We
file.
can't, you know, we need an abatement signed by them requesting a refund of prior years. And so that was, again, as Jessica pointed out, these were late inspections after we had to close the system to generate the tax bills. And on the ones that she visited and spoke with, she recommended that they file an abatement so that we could correct it for '24. Otherwise, it was only going to be corrected going forward.
And they all have been corrected in our 2025 database. So moving forward, they're all set.
I would just ask, I think in some of them, well, one of them, I know we get a list of the corrections. It's a little difficult to go into the property record card and just, you know, find the one, especially for,
We do try to write notes, so if you go to the second card.
yeah, they're in the comments, yeah.
The second card, per inspection, vinyl siding, 15% laminate flooring, air conditioning, is this the right one? I don't know. Yes, sir. 2 baths to good condition.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Overall
just, it
condition.
might be good if
Yeah.
we could get, I mean, it's not, doesn't affect this one, but if we get a list of a couple of the bigger items that caused, you know, a $70,000 reduction, you know,
Yep.
but that's okay.
This one was, a big portion of it was the basement. I remeasured the basement finish and adjusted that. And they had a pool previously. These are new owners. So at some point, there was a pool removed, probably before they purchased it, and it was still on the property card, because people
Okay.
don't tend to think to tell us when they do things like that. And if they don't pull a permit, that's how we would know about it, and if they don't, we don't know about it,
Okay.
so. This one was I think, on the first card, $19,000 worth of a pool valuation was removed. And then the basement finish went from partially finished to,
this is the one that had the basement finishes and unsketched area.
oh, yeah. So we added some finish based on the sale of the property, looking at MLS. And then, once we got in, we adjusted the finish to the proper square footage, because we were able to measure it.
How about the roof?
Yeah, the roof, I don't know if,
That was done
Going to-
prior to me going out.
yeah, that was on the old listing, the metal
It
roof.
was correct, no need to change.
No.
Put a door, I really changed it up.
So this one actually had a couple of changes throughout the year, because we made changes because of the sale earlier in 2024, and then we went out after they contacted us again and made additional changes.
Any other questions? All right, can I get a motion to approve the abatement for the property at 70 Tampa Street for 2024?
So moved?
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay, the ayes have it. Next one,
Okay,
Jessica?
next one is 5A Berkeley Street, same situation. I inspected it. This, the main issue on this one was space over the garage. We had it, I believe, we had it as finished space, and she came over to let us know it was, as well as the attic. So over the garage and the 3rd floor of the home were both listed as finished. And she noticed that when she looked at her square footage total, 3,000 or whatever square feet it was. She didn't think that was correct, so we came out and did the inspection, and it was kind of funny, because they have an open permit now to finish the garage, but it's still unfinished, so.
It was unfinished for '24.
Unfinished for 2024, it may be finished for 2025, but, so I think those were the main reasons. we unfinished above the garage, and the attic went from finished to unfinished. Some other additional smaller changes. So we're recommending to approve the abatement for 2024 for 5A Berkeley Street.
Any questions, Charles?
Nope.
Can I get a motion to approve the abatement for the property at 5A Berkeley Street for 2024?
So moved.
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Great.
Next one.
Slightly, same situation, slightly different, 4 Amble Road. I went out there for an inspection, I made data corrections, and then I clicked the wrong heating system in the drop-down section, so his tax bill value went out higher than it should have. I made some changes that reduced his value, some that increased his value. The net change should have been pretty minimal, just like $2,000 or $3,000, but by selecting this incorrect heat type, which was radiant hot water instead of just hot water, was a $7,000 difference. So he had made contact with us, and I looked through everything all again. I redid the whole thing and found the error. So in order to correct that, we asked him to file the abatement so we can reduce that 2024 value and correct the error.
Okay, so some up, some down, so.
Wait a minute, hold on. It says the 2024 assessment is 563.9. Applicant's opinion of value is 556.
Yep.
But his email says that his assessment should be no more than $500,000.
Yes, as in, well, I don't know. Where are we looking here?
When you file the abatement?
The email was prior to the abatement. The email was some communication we were having. He originally thought his value should go down from what it was, because when he had a hearing with Vision, they said he had one too many bedrooms and one or two
Half
too many
more.
rooms.
Half more bath and 2 more rooms.
Right, so he was thinking, I have less bathrooms, less bedrooms, less rooms, my value should go down, but that wasn't the case, because removing the bedroom and the rooms made no difference to the value change, because it sometimes doesn't. It usually, like from 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 can make a big change. Once you get in the 3 to 4 range, it usually doesn't. And then, I think I listed on my response to him as I changed the kitchens from 3 to 2.5. However, he had renovated
The bathrooms?
the bathrooms that were there, so I changed the condition from average to good, which he agreed with because they've been recently renovated. So that, in fact, was a net increase of $800 to the bathroom situation.
All right, but he was using that number based upon other properties on the street.
Right, which I addressed later in the email, where he was comparing his home to people with much different square footage of living area. He has 1832, and he was comparing himself one that had 1,200 and one that had 1,000.
Okay.
So these, with this price per square foot, he's not comparable to those homes.
But Charles's question was to the point of the applicant's opinion of value on 3 of these.
On
It
what
it
3
looks
of-
like the applicant said it should be this number, and we.
Where are you looking?
Right on your abatement information sheet,
Okay, thank you.
that first page is internal.
It shows the 2024 assessment and then the applicant's opinion of value. And if it comes out that the applicant had asked for 556.9, like, you
That
know,
is the recommended abatement amount.
Yeah, but
Right.
that's not-
556.9.
That's not his opinion of value.
Yes,
Right.
it is. That,
Applicant.
where are you seeing a different number, please?
Oh, right, okay. If you look at that abatement information sheet, and you go down 4 lines, there's a 2024 assessment of 563.9, and then the applicant's opinion of value of 556.9.
Correct.
So you agreed on the 556.9.
He got that number from me. After I made the data corrections, I said, because the 563 was the data error that I made that bumped his value up $7,000 too high.
Right, but the only thing is,
It looks,
It looks
it's
bad, like
confusing
if-
to us.
like, if he picks an odd number, like, the guy on the street picks 50, I think it's 556.9, we say, oh, yeah, it's 556.9, like, we
That's
didn't
not
really do
how
due diligence to find out what it should be.
So all 5 of these, we inspected the property, we made the data correction in the computer system, and then when it was time to file an abatement, we said,
Right.
you can now file an abatement, here's the number that you put for your opinion of value, which is what the computer spit out after we made all of the data corrections to your property, so that you know what to ask for that can be approved.
So the point here is, if they're filing an abatement for data errors, they're not challenging the value, they're just saying you got some information incorrect. So if all they're challenging is data errors, once we correct those errors, that's by default their opinion of what the assessment should be.
Okay, it's not, I mean, their opinion can always be different from that
Yep.
number.
Yes,
Yep.
in which case it would not be an abatement for a data correction. That could be like a portion of it, but if they still had additional,
See, but I'm looking at
Questions
this
that-
like, he's not sitting here defending that $500,000 number. So, I mean, you're saying that he came in and said, okay, 556 is the right number. I'll live with that number. But originally, the email said $500,000. So, okay, you came up with the right number with the data correction errors, and we're going to agree to 556.9 right now. I don't want this guy to come back and say, wait a minute, I said $500,000, I don't know, Jessica came up with a 556.
on his abatement application, he did not put whatever you're seeing on these other pages.
Okay.
Those were emails, those were discussions, like, hey, I had a vision hearing, there's probably 3 more pages to that, but I had a vision thing, my value should go down, I have less bedrooms, let's schedule an appointment, we go back and forth.
But,
And the abatement application didn't happen until after all of the inspections and the data corrections in the computer. Then he got the bill on the higher number,
Okay, but.
and then
we're
he
not
said, can you
seeing-
look at this again? And so I looked at it again and found the error with the heating system.
So
Right.
the only, the thing that's not being connected for me is his application for an abatement.
I mean, typically a person if there aren't any data corrections involved, simply a person thinks that their house is overvalued, they say what their opinion is.
Yes.
So there are usually 3 things: the 2024 or whatever year assessment, the applicant's opinion, and then the decision. And so we know, okay, the applicant had this number in mind. It looks a little strange when the applicant has the exact number that we end up with, especially
Right.
when it's an
So-
odd number.
So that's why we're doing all of these on this meeting, because these are all of the easy data correction ones. These have nothing to do with anybody fighting their value based on a sales comparison. So what you're describing is when they do an abatement and then we have a comparison sheet, they pull comps, we pull comps, they have an opinion of value, then we would come back to you and say, okay, we ran comps and we came with, he's got something here, but he's not really got as much as he thinks he's got, because we found 3 sales that match his exactly. Then it would spit out probably a different number, and we'd be proposing a 3rd number, like you're saying. All 5 of these have nothing to do with that.
Okay,
These are all data corrections.
Right.
That they got the number from us, because they would not have had any idea what number to put. They just want to say, I have a less bathroom, and I don't have hardwood or something, so come fix it, and that's all I care about.
So maybe we should, going forward, change applicant's opinion of value to something of, agreed upon or somehow show that they were led to that number, not that they came up with that number. That's my only point.
this is all great information, but it's missing a few pieces. I appreciate everything you just said, Jessica, I get it, but I just want to see the trail. I want to see how did we get to this agreed upon value? And because you're talking about an application where he would have signed off on that number. Okay, that's great. Let me see where he signed off on that number, as opposed to a internal application abatement information sheet that you wrote up.
So
So-
the only thing he wrote on his application is what I copied directly and put in his own numbers there.
But he must have put on the 556.9.
I can also snippet the 556.9, I guess.
No, just include the application.
I don't think that's a policy discussion. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't get
We
the
don't.
applications from,
They are
Because-
available to you in our office anytime.
But they're not public?
I would prefer to get through this, and if you want to have a discussion about that, have it at a different time, because we have quite a bit to get through, but that's not for me to decide.
I would just to answer your question,
Thank you.
the public, other than if they have income and expense information, which these don't.
Exactly.
So if it's an income property, then it's public except for that information. We'd have to redact it. If somebody came in the office and asked to look at these,
The abatement requests?
yes,
Yeah,
that's public.
right.
But we would take out any income and
Sure.
expense information.
We're not talking about that here.
Historically, the meetings haven't been a work session. We can have those, if you want to have those,
Okay.
where we look at them all, with you guys one by one.
This is our work, so
That's what I'm saying, this is a policy change discussion that I
It's-
feel like we
it's-
should have, but maybe not in this very second.
it's not our policy, it's your policy. So
Whoever's
we need to see the information in order for us to make our decision. That's what we're asking for.
So are
I'd
you
like to
asking us to
discuss
bring
that
us
separately.
all the applications with us when we
No,
come out?
when you present before us and we ask to see it, I'd like to be able to look at it.
well, historically, it's been, a summary has been provided, and again, in a typical application where the taxpayer submits an application, one of the staff, the assessor department staff reviews it, writes out a summary, we get the summary and make the decision on that. I'm fine with that. It's just that these are a little different in that you negotiate or discuss with the taxpayer, okay, these were the changes, this is what we came up with. So,
Well, we didn't come up, there was no, it's not like a settlement, there was no negotiation. This is a data correction.
right.
So whatever changes were made were put into the computer,
Oh,
and
no.
whatever number came out of the computer is the new number. There was no negotiation on my part or their part
But
about
the only
the
difference
number.
is you go back to them and tell them what the number is before you
Right.
come, before it comes to us.
Right.
So that the whole thing could be solved. It's just the applicant's opinion of value at this point is a bit confusing because they have the benefit of it having gone through a process of corrections, and then the number comes out to whatever it is. So it's really not, from the start, it's not the applicant's opinion of value, it's at the end. And so that's what makes it a little bit confusing on these, where it's done in-house.
I would tell you that frequently when the application is just having to do with the data correction, they don't even put an opinion
They
of
don't
value
even put an opinion of value because they don't know. All they're asking is for us to correct the data on the property record card.
Okay, so again, that,
So in that case, I guess it would be appropriate to have a spot that says opinion of value and say none,
Not, or not
or
applicable.
not provided.
Right, not applicable.
right,
We can do that.
all right, well,
Yeah, I just want to, the whole thing is, if they were sitting right here, the taxpayer, I want to make sure that everything on this form is correct. And you're saying it is, and I have no reason to doubt it, but I just want to see the paperwork to line it all up. I want to see the best evidence here that says that these numbers are what they are. And based upon the email that I saw at the beginning, it isn't. That's my issue. So. You want to,
no,
make a
I
motion?
don't want to get in, my preference would not be to review the actual hard copy sent in by the applicant every time. I don't want to get into doing that. That question came up before. I was asked, do you review every application? I said, yes, meaning that we review the information after the assessor has gone through it. And so this person, this taxpayer said, oh, you don't look at the application. Well, no, we don't look at the actual application submitted by the taxpayer, but we look at a summary of that application. And that's why I'd like to keep it that way. The only thing is, when I saw that the applicant's number opinion matched what the final result was, that's a little bit odd. So I understand how that happened. You know, if this didn't say applicant's opinion, it just said final opinion of value, I'd be fine with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but, I mean, I agree with you, we don't need to look at every single application, but if I see something in what's presented that raises a question, I'd like to see the backup.
Right.
That's all I'm asking for. And this one did.
You can.
I'm okay with going forward on
Yeah,
this one.
yeah, let's,
Can I get a motion to approve the abatement for the property at 4 Amble Road?
so moved.
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Okay, next one.
Okay, so the next two were inspected by Miles. They are the same situation. They were inspected, and the data that was changed after the database was locked out, so the bill went out with a higher amount. And so this one is being recommended for an abatement on 13-15 Jefferson Street for 2024, based on the data corrections made from inspection.
Any questions?
You said 13 through 15.
Yes.
Okay. All right. No, I'm good with this one.
Can I get a motion to approve the abatement for the property at 13 to 15 Jefferson Street for 2024?
So moved.
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next one,
All
Jessica?
right, the next one is 5 Sims Street. Miles inspected it, made some data corrections, which reduced the value for 2024 and for 2025, and they filed an abatement to reduce their 2024 value as well. So we recommend the abatement, minimal abatement, for 5 Sims Street.
What's the rule on conflicts? I mean, I know Mike Turcott.
I think everybody knows Mike Turcott.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Like, I mean, he is a local business owner that does construction,
yeah.
so I don't think that anybody can actually recuse themselves, because again, I can almost guarantee that Jay probably knows Mike too,
Yeah,
so.
all right,
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal.
okay.
Can I get a motion to approve the abatement for the property at 5 Sims Street for 2024?
So moved.
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next one.
Okay, now we switch to a different topic.
Much to Jessica's delight.
These are supplemental bills. So manufactured housing is the one thing in New Hampshire that's a little different. Every other property, you are taxed for the tax year based on what's on your property as of April 1st of that year, and that's what you're billed on for April 1st through March 31st. Manufactured homes are the one time where if it's not on site by April 1st, you can send a supplemental bill if they have been installed after April 1st and prior to January 1st of the next year. What happens is you calculate what the tax would be for the year, and then you prorate it by the number of days that they were actually on site for that tax year. So we have 3 new manufactured homes that have gone in to the city this year. Got a couple of just introduction pages for you and/or the tax collector to help with the breakdown, but basically, all 3 of these were not in existence. They were existing sites, but in a previous year, in the last year or two, the old one had been removed. So for last year, it was no house on the lot or no value or whatever, and then the new home has now been put on the lot. The new owners have moved in, and we have calculated, we've gone out and inspected the property. We have to measure it and actually enter the whole home into our system, just like any other new property, to come up with what the value would be. And then we wait till this time of year also because we need the tax rate. So we get their whole tax and then we do it by how many days they were there. So for each one, that's why it's however much it is. The first one is 3 Larchin Lane. The tax collector will send out these supplemental bills. I have a supplemental warrant for you to sign in your signature documents. So we are looking to approve the supplemental bill for 3 Larchin Lane for 2024. Any questions?
If the old unit was removed and nothing is done, is there a tax bill for the land?
It's part of the park.
I'm sorry?
It's part of the park
Part
tax
of the whole
bill.
park.
Because the land for most of the, if it's in a mobile home park, it's just the physical structure you're taxing, or if they have a shed or something, because they're paying a rent to the park ownership for the rent of their
And
land.
then the park owner gets a tax bill for the park, for the
Okay.
And
land.
all the land.
Land and pad sites.
So is the manufactured home personal property, or
It's real estate.
I'm getting 2 different answers?
Oh, yeah.
It's, well, once it's plugged into water and sewer, to utilities, in the state of New Hampshire, it's considered real
That's
estate.
what I want to know. The state of New Hampshire is considered real estate, okay.
Once it's hooked up to, so if somebody who sells mobile homes has 20 of them out there for sale and are not hooked up to utilities, those are not taxed. They're considered inventory, no different than a new car on a car dealer's lot.
Yeah.
Once they're installed and plugged in, it's real estate.
Yeah.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the new abatement for that's what it is, right?
No, it's
Supplemental bill.
Supplemental bill for 3 Larchin Lane for 2024.
So moved?
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
The next
Next
one
one.
is 14 Valley Crest Trail, same situation. The calculations here, looking to approve the supplemental bill for 14 Valley Crest Trail for 2024.
Any questions?
Nope.
Can I get a motion to approve the supplemental bill for the property at 14 Valley Crest for 2024?
So moved?
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Great, the last one is 6 Great Stone Drive. The only difference here is I've adjusted the supplemental bill to include her veterans credit that was transitioned from her. She already lived in Nashua, was getting it, and
There's a provision in
Move.
the exemption and credit law that if you move within the jurisdiction, within the city,
request the
you can
transfer.
request that your benefit be moved from your old parcel to your new parcel, as long as that request is made before December 1st.
Any questions?
No questions?
Can I get a motion to approve the supplemental bill for the property at 6 Great Stone for 2024?
So moved?
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Okay. I'm gonna turn the next topic over to Michelle, which was the operating guidelines for the Board of Assessors meetings.
So because Bob had asked about the actual term of a chair, we went in search of all of our records and found these guidelines that were adopted in 1995. Some of them are a little outdated, such as our staff no longer has a department coordinator for the assessing department. So we don't have somebody to serve as the secretary of the actual board itself. Jessica has been filling in, doing that duty. But we're not even scheduled to hire anybody for that position, at least until 2028.
So did Jessica get a raise?
No, she did not.
Well,
Be-
that's-
I
Because
guess if
it's,
that's within your power to do, and you
Right.
make a
Yeah,
motion,
let's talk about it.
The other thing that we wanted to make note of is that the actual meetings have been moved from 8:15 till 9.
Oh, that's because of Bob. He likes to,
No.
Yeah.
Wasn't
he likes
me.
to sleep in.
And the actual last thing that I noticed is that it says that we would mail the actual board packets to you guys, which we don't do. We email them per request, or we make them available for you to pick up.
Yeah.
So again, like, I didn't know if you guys wanted to amend any of these guidelines themselves, other than what we suggested here. But, for example, it says that the board chair should not exceed a term of 3 years. But again, like, it is an operating guideline that the actual board adopted in 1995.
So it's not part of the ordinance?
Correct.
The term limit on the chair, it's part of the,
Like our
basically
guidelines.
the rules that this board established in 95 and could be changed at any time.
The other thing, that 5.5, the items under appeal, the board shall not hear any matter on any property which is subject to a current court appeal. And I just want to understand what is meant by court appeal. It's like, they appeal it up to the BTLA or to Superior Court?
Yes.
Or, so, to the BTLA, that's considered a court appeal?
Yes, and this might be a little outdated too. For a time, the BTLA had been arguing that once they rendered a decision, you couldn't override it locally, and I think there's been case law that says otherwise.
That we couldn't, okay,
So once it goes to a hearing concludes, and the board orders an abatement or denies an abatement, in this particular case that was challenged, they denied the abatement, the local jurisdiction decided they were going to grant it anyways. And that ran into a buzzsaw. It's like, once it goes to that jurisdiction, that's, they're the law. So,
oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Michelle, could you ask Celia for that case law?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, there are a couple of obvious things. The time, 8:15 a.m., says the first and third Thursday, which we've been doing the first Thursday of the month, which I think, except for certain situations, that's enough. So if you want to make bring a redacted copy or a changed copy that we could vote on at the next meeting, and does that seem right?
Yeah, if you want to, like, create a new document.
Sure,
That will ultimately be a restated and amended operating guidelines.
Right,
Dated
to
whenever.
be the actual date of whenever we're gonna
Yeah,
approve it.
enacted.
Is there anything else that you guys want me to look
You know,
at?
the date and time obviously is the biggest one. I don't really see anything else. And then obviously 1.1 will need to be changed to
Right.
describe the amendment.
And would you want language in there regarding, there'll be a meeting on the first Thursday, and if needed, on the third?
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
and a supplemental meeting, yeah, if
If needed.
necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can change the secretary, take that out, I guess.
Or just indicate that the
3.4.
assessor's office will support the board.
Yeah,
Yep. So,
You know, some of this stuff here, I think you'd have to check. There is actually, hold on a second. Check here. All right, so there's, Okay, this might be the wrong document that we're looking at. There's a City of Nashua Board of Assessors procedural rules document that I found on the internet that is a lot more descriptive of this. Let me just come down there. It's, because it references the RSA and kind of is what gives us the authority to do these things. Have you seen this document?
So is that the actual ordinance that the city of Nashua adopted?
It may be. I just don't have the document. It's a 3-page document. That's what it looks like.
So I can take a look at it, but I believe that is the actual ordinance itself.
But it talks about 9 o'clock meetings. Regular meetings shall be scheduled at 9 a.m. on the first and third Thursday of each month. So it goes into a lot more description than that does.
Would you email that to me?
I'll see if I can. I'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got to make sure I'm on this system.
All right.
And get it to you. So
Would you found it on the city's website?
I found it on the city's website. When I did a
Okay.
Google search, I have a whole bunch of documents I pulled down when I first started that I got off the city's website.
Yeah, and I was asked to make sure that everything was up to date, so these are the only things that I found in our procedures in the assessing department, but I didn't actually check our actual website.
Yeah, so I'm not sure that we should go by this, or if we do,
Table it till next meeting?
this is something we need to just spend a little more time on, instead of pushing it through, to make sure we get it right. Because this is, as you see, the name of it's procedural rules, and then these are operating guidelines. And there seems to be some conflict here between the procedural rules and the operating guidelines. And so if we're looking to modify this document, it should be strictly operations of the board and not the procedural rules of the board.
Okay.
So,
Okay, anything else under new business items? I don't see it.
what's the matter,
If
Jessica?
not, we'll go to public comment. I don't see anybody here. Comments by members of the board? Charles, you have anything?
Yeah, I think when Jessica changes seats, she's gonna bring a name tag with her whenever she goes. It's just,
Non-public session. Can I get a motion to go into non-public for 2 reasons? First, to discuss matters which, if discussed in public, would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of this board, unless such person requests an open meeting. This exemption shall extend to include any application for assistance or tax abatement or waiver of a fee, fine, or other levy, if based on inability to pay or poverty of the applicant, pursuant to RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2, Section C. Second, under 91A:3, Roman numeral 2, Section L, for the consideration of legal advice provided by legal counsel, either in writing or orally, to one or more members of the public body, even where legal counsel is not present.
okay, I'm not ready to make a motion for it yet, because,
Yep.
but I didn't wanna stop you from
Okay.
having to read all that over again. I just saw in Jessica's tab, this thing regarding 12 Wagon Trail.
It's non-public.
It's not a public.
It's in the non-public section.
Oh, it is? No, I see the non-public is back here, so that's why I was asking. Okay. Okay, I so moved?
I'll second that.
Okay.
I'll second that. Roll call. Charles Dobbins.
Aye.
Robert Early, aye. We're into non-public at 9:50 a.m.